Hi everyone, it's Orkan. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to solve LeetCode 92 reverse linked list 2 problem. So the problem states that we have a linked list, and besides the input parameter of linked list, we have also two other input parameters, left and right. And left is always less than or equals to right. So what we need to do, we need to reverse the linked list between left and right. For example, in this case, we have left is being 2 and the right is being 4. So basically we find these two elements, left and right, and reverse only this part, and at the end we should get the linked list that is shown below. So basically 1 points to 4, 4 points to 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's see how we are going to solve this problem. Okay, let's use the example from description. So we have a linked list of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and we need to reverse this linked list between left and right. So 4 and 5. All right, so first thing that we need to do, so basically we are going to iterate over our linked list only once. First thing that we are going to do, we are going to find the left, and then we are going to move and reverse the linked list until the right, and then we are going to change the start and the end of the linked list between right and the left. Okay, so how we are going to do? First thing is, let's also introduce the helper node in order to not to lose the head of our linked list. Let's introduce the helper node. So what we are going to do, let's say that the first iteration, this is our current node. This is, let's mark it as our previous node, and let's mark this one as our current node. So our left is equals to 2, so it means that we are going to move twice in order to find our left element. So then our pointer previous will move to the first, and our current will move to the second. So this is our left element. So actually marking another color. So this is basically our left element we found, and from here we are going to move until we find our right element and reverse the list there. So at this point we also have to do one more thing. So the first thing is we need to mark the start and the end that we are going to use once we reverse the list. So let's mark this one as a start, and this one as an end of our linked list. Why we are marking as a start? So basically once we revert our linked list, so this portion of our linked list, so this one becomes the start, and the start should point to the first element that we reversed. Start should point to the 4, and the end node that we reversed, in reversed part of the linked list, should point to the first element that come after the right. Okay, follow me. I think that we need to follow this step by step to make it more clear. So so this is that in the next iteration we are again moving our pointers, and again we in the next iteration we one more time moving our pointers. This is a previous and the current one, and in the fifth one we are moving our pointers, and this one is become our current. So at this point, so once we move, we find out that okay, this is our right element when the right is equals to 4. This is the portion of the linked list that we need to reverse. So let's reverse this part. So basically here instead of pointing to the next element, we are pointing to the previous element. But there is one more thing that we need to do once we reverse our linked list, portion of our linked list. Our start, as we have mentioned here, that should point to 4, because 4 now becomes the first element once we reverse that. And what is the 4 in our case? It's actually a previous element. So what we can say here, so that the start next should point to previous. Okay. And one more is that what about the end? End next in that case, so which means that the 2. So once we reverse it, it becomes the last element, and it should point to the next element that comes after the right, which is to 5. What's the 5 in our case here? 5 is the current. So this one, previous and the current. So then the end next should point to the current element. Okay. So basically, after reversing our linked list, so the algorithm will work in following way. We are going over our list. First, we are finding the left element. Then from there, we start to reverse our linked list. And once we found our left element, we are also marking our start and the end. So start becomes our current, and start becomes our previous, and the end becomes our current. So we go over the end of the list and find our right. Once we find our right, we stop there, and the start element will point to the previous one. We'll point to the previous one, which is the last element that we are reversing, and the end element. So the end element, which is the first element that we start to reverse from, that will point to the next element that comes after the right, which is the current element. So that's it. That's the algorithm that we are going to use to solve this problem. So now let's put this algorithm to code. Okay, let's put our explanation to code. First thing that we need to do is to create a list node for the helper node to keep track the head of our linked list. So let's just call it the helper, and so we are going to create a new list node, and let's put it -1, not to confuse with the others. So what we need to do, so helper, we are gonna set our helper next to point to our head element. That's the whole purpose of this helper. Next thing is we need to set up our previous and the current element. So for the previous, that will equal to our helper, as we have seen from our explanation part at the beginning, and the list node current is going to equal to our head. Okay, so that's it. So then the next thing that we need to do, we need to find the first element from where we are going to start to reverse our linked list. So let's do that. So for the I less than our left, we are gonna, let's define I here first. So I is, since we are starting from the first element, I is equals to 1. And so what we are doing here, we say, okay, that while we find our first element from where we are gonna start to reverse our linked list, just move over our linked list. So previous equal to, and we are keep updating our previous and the current. Previous equals to next, and the current is going to be equal to current equals to next. Okay, and we are incrementing our I. So we found the first element, and as we have agreed that we found the first element from where we're going to start to reverse our linked list. Also, we have agreed that at that point we need to mark our start and the end that we are going to use while we are done with the reversing our linked list. We are going to use that to set the beginning and the end of our reverse linked list. So let's put here our starting node. Let's call it start, and it equals to, at this point, to our previous. And our list node is equals to end equals to our current. Okay. So, and let's now start to reverse our linked list. So while I is less than or equal to right, because we also have to include the last element. So we need to reverse our linked list. So first, what we're gonna do, list node, we are gonna create temp node where we are gonna store the current element, just not to lose it. So current next, let's actually define that here, our list node temp. Okay, let's define it as a null here. We're gonna set that anyway here. Okay, so we are storing in our temp element, and our previous becomes so basically our current next. In this case, it points to our previous element. Okay, our previous element becomes our current element, and our current element becomes our temp. Okay, that was the whole point of this temp. And now we are also incrementing the I. So once we get out of this loop, it means that we have reversed the portion of our linked list that need to be reversed. That's it. So at the end, as we have agreed, we need to do two things. First thing is that we need to set up the start next. It's going to be equal to start next is equals to our previous, as we have seen from our description previously. And the next one is end next, where it's going to point to our current. Okay, so basically start is in our case, in our example, is 1. 1 is going to point to 4, which is our previous, and the end in our case, which is 2, that will point to 2 here, and it's going to point to 5. So that's it. And at the end, we are going to just return our linked list. So the head of our linked list, which is the helper method, helps us here. So we are going to say helper next, which is the head of our linked list. That's it. Let's run it, see what we got here. Okay, current, okay. Temp, yeah, we already defined temp here. Okay, that's it. That's it, how we solve this problem with the reverse linked list 2. As you see that the first thing that we find our first element, then we set up our start and end, we reverse our linked list, and then we set the start and the end after reversing the linked list. That's it. That's it for today. That's it for today. Thank you for watching my video, and hope you like my content. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.